was rich and unplanned, so I'm excited about that. But for the sake of time, let's do the formal introductions, and then once we've gone down our panel and we know who everyone is and what area they'll be representing, then we will just jump right in, and you can take off running and do what you do wonderfully and start this conversation. Okay.
You want me to start off?
Yes, please.
Well, good afternoon to everyone who is here. Today joining us, my name is Stephanie A. Roberts. I never leave home without the A. I am the owner and founder of Open Your Mind LLC, which is an educational consulting firm where I partner with schools, community organizations, churches, and mentor groups to provide young people between the ages of 12 and 21 with life skills, financial literacy strategies, and academic support. Because I feel like if we can catch them on the front end, we don't have to do as much cleanup on the back end as it relates to providing them with those skills. Because school does not prepare you for life, so we definitely have to make sure we incorporate those skills, and that's where my heart and my passion is with working with, especially those who look like me.
Follow that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is LaShanda. I am the Senior Economic Empowerment Coach, which is a fancy word for career coach at the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. So I work with community members to help them achieve their academic and career goals through professional development, obtaining career trades and pathways to enhance your knowledge, skills, and abilities to make you more marketable for any specific industry that you're looking to get into. With the YWCA, there's 4 pillars that we really focus on, which is career readiness, career services, financial education, small business development and entrepreneurship, as well as innovation technology. Those 4 components, we really believe that that will prepare individuals and get them from surviving to thrive.
Absolutely.
My name is Crystal Rice. I don't have any big titles. I don't have any really big titles. I'm here to present about having the difference between college degree and trade programs or whatever. I have hope, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. I do, and I have to talk about it, but I just I'm the owner of Phoenix Logistics LLC. So that's my new baby that I just it's birth my new baby. So we'll talk about that if you have questions about that.
Entrepreneur, yes. Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Dr. Louie Powell. Louie Powell. I always say if you don't see the eating, that means it's not me. And there's a long story behind that, but I won't tell that story. I am the CEO of Oasis Empowerment Zone, which is a not-for-profit organization specializing in empowering single mothers. I am a life coach that specializes in personal and professional development. I do a number of things. My running joke for the last couple of years is I have 15 jobs. That's a whole nother story too. But I'm an author. I do have a doctorate in educational leadership. And for the last year, I've been on assignment with Prairie State College working in a program called Opportunity Works, which is an organization, or which is a grant-based initiative that specializes in empowering young adults between the ages of 16 to 24. We provide life skills, we provide career readiness skills, we give them a 6-week paid internship, we provide supportive services and all of that. So I said that was my assignment for the last year because as of next Friday, I will no longer be a part of that assignment. I'll be going back full time to working in my not-for-profit organization, Oasis Empowerment Zone.
All right, 3 snags.
My name is Malayna. I'm with Powell Banker. I'm a real estate agent. In short, real estate agent, realtor, broker. They're all the same. But in short, my job is to help people buy and sell homes, but I gear more towards helping people create generational wealth. A lot of people in our community, we are renting for years on end. So I'm teaching a lot of my clients about how to maybe rent for a couple of years, set up a plan, and then make sure you buy and stay in the communities that you want to be in. Because a lot of people are pushing us out, getting us out of our communities, and our communities are gems. They have a lot of gold and a lot to offer. So instead of being put out of our communities, we can stay where we are and own as long as we have a plan. Help provide that in our life.
More snacks. So now that we've gotten an opportunity to get to know everyone who is on the panel, we're going to pretty much open it up where it is informal because we want everyone to get engaged. Any questions that you have as we're approaching each of the panelists with questions or responses, feel free to kind of jump right in because we want everyone to have a strong takeaway while being engaged during our time together. So for starters, with all of our awesome panelists, I want to throw out this question. So with what you actually do on a day-to-day basis, does your career require a college degree or a certification of some sort? Would anyone like to kind of jump in and answer that question? With what you do, does that career require a high school diploma only, a college degree, a certification of some sort, etc.? Anyone can kind of jump in on that.
So I'll start with chronological order. So being a career coach, depending on what industry you're going into, whether it's like corporate or non-for-profits, most of those industries will require at least a high school diploma to get into the field of career coaching. For nonprofits, the nonprofits that I've stopped at, a bachelor's in sociology, if you're looking to work with community members at a nonprofit, would be more acceptable with getting into that industry. But usually it can be a bachelor's of anything: business administration, financial education, it could be engineering, but STEM-related type of degrees. It really just depends on where you see yourself transitioning and the audience that you see yourself assisting to help them achieve their career goals. So a high school diploma, bachelor's degree of some sort, depending on nonprofit or corporate, corporate will determine, and they'll usually list that in the job description, what type of bachelor's would be acceptable, or what they're looking for as an organization.
I guess the part that I didn't tell about myself is that I've been a social worker for over 35 plus years. And I worked for the state for almost 30 years in child protection and child welfare. And for those types of careers, and I still do consulting work with the state of Illinois for DCFS. And so for those careers, at least a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in some type of human service degree, human service field is preferable.
Okay, well, you could just call me. Because I have 2 degrees and I have 1 trade. So my first degree, I went to college for nursing. A degree for that. But you can start, you can either have an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. It depends on how far you want to take it. My second degree, I have a degree in mortuary science. Yes, I play with it. From time to time. I do it because I love it. My trade is I stepped out of both of those, and now I'm a truck driver, which is the birth of my new baby, which is Phoenix Logistics. So, I would say, so when I was because it was, what this is about, but I was a single parent. I had my son at 17 years old, and it was like, I was smart enough to go away to college, but I had to choose, like, do I want to be a parent? Do I want to be a college student? So I had to choose both because I wasn't going to be my son. So I ended up going to nursing school, even though I've always wanted to be a truck driver. But, growing up in my household, like I grew up in an old traditional household, the men did this and the women did this. It's either you was a nurse or a teacher, but it's all blue collar jobs belong to me. So we didn't, it wasn't even this. And I came, like I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather and my mother. So it was like when them granny said that you was doing this is what you was doing. So I ended up doing that. I was a nurse for 22 years. And then I just decided that one day I woke up and said I didn't want to do that. And I got up, I wrote my letter of resignation, I resigned, I went to truck driving school, and I've been driving ever since.
That's just history.
Yeah, the rest is history. I've been driving ever since, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely I love the freedom of it. Not talking against my own profession or whatever, but I love like being able to be out, do me, do whatever I want to do, and then like grow other things. Like I got my transportation company now, so it's like now I can like cultivate that and work on that and get that together. So I have 2 children now. Both of them are grown, so they're doing their own thing, or whatever. So it's like I would, suggest either don't let anybody put any restrictions on you. Don't put you in the box. You know what I mean? Because like I was in a box for years, living this way because I was taught that way. Now it's like I'm doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. And it's no limitations. And it's free because like I still owe student loans. I still owe student loans for my degrees that I have. I still owe student loans. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I make more money now with my driver's license than I did with those pieces of paper. Just because for the status of not saying that you shouldn't go to God, but look into, and then like for women, because research is very, 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 very important. And just like for women, we were all put into this box again. Women can't be electricians, women can't be plumbers, women can't be this, women can't be mechanics. No, do what you want to do what you feel that you need to do for you. And that's what I did. I stepped out of the box. I took a step out. I stepped out on faith, really. Because I decided, I stepped away from my job. I had a little nest egg. I stepped away from my job with, I didn't know how long it was going to take, but yeah, I just stepped out on faith and it worked out. So,
Do you drive locally or cross country?
well, I started out what was called regional. I worked for this company called NFI. It's a refrigeration company. So regional is just from Illinois. You're at home every day. So and that was my thing. That was like one of the things that held me back. That I didn't want to go across country, but I have done some cross country trips. The worst one I drove to New Orleans. It's a bridge that leads from baby, let me tell you something. It was that bridge. That the wind was 35 miles an hour on this 2-lane road, and I thought about, I said, Lord, if this is really what you want me to do, I'm going to show me the sign that I held that 40,000 pounds on my back and made it across that bridge. And that there was like, okay, that was my confirmation, that was my affirmation that this was for me. But I have done, so I'm a girl that cross country. I don't like showering, sleeping in the truck. I don't like showering in truck stops and all that stuff. So I got me a job with the refrigeration company that would have me home. I still had to drive 10 hours a day, but I was at home every night. So I went from like here, I had a dedicated route. Like I would go from here to Indianapolis or here to Boston, Wisconsin, like that, Wisconsin Dells, or I went, the farthest I've ever traveled with that company was like Kansas, and that's like, a going company. So, but now I work locally. I came back home, because you have to have, most of these companies give you, you have to have at least 6 months of experience driving before you can, they'll let you drive locally because it's like a big deal. You have to be able to handle your loads and your weight. You have to be able to have your bridges to know, because that's the worst thing you can do is type a trailer. I know you saw some people they open them up like cans. The trailers are open. That's the worst thing you can do. So you have to protect yourself.
And that's really I'm glad that you all asked that question to her, because we also have some young people in the room as well, and this is good for them to know that you want to look and seek out, and for the parents as well, you want to seek out best fit options for your scholar after high school. She talked about student loans. That is no joke. If you are under 24, you do not have a child, you are not in the military, and you are not married, your scholar will not be able to take out a federal student loan on their own. So what that means is it puts you in a position where you now have to become a co-signer or obtain a Parent Plus loan. And the goal is when your child becomes 18, you want them to be able to stand on their feet. But if you have to sign and commit to a Parent Plus loan, you now have that ball and chain on your ankle again for multiple years. And student loans do not go away. You can file bankruptcy and they are still there. So when we talk about something that was said here is we have to think about, do we want it for the status or a piece of paper? Do we want them, our young people and women, to be able to stand on your own feet? If you're a single mother and you have children, you don't want that additional debt. Because if you don't have money, credit, good credit, will get you money. And so we want to think about these things when we're making those choices and decisions as single parents and planning for our young people. You better believe it. I'm with the young lady there. I've been a licensed real estate broker in the state of Illinois. September will be 20 years. I have never sold one piece of property. And that's because I learned to use it strategically. I started out as a mortgage loan officer in 1995. And so when someone encouraged me to get my real estate license, I said, but I love getting people qualified, making sure they have the best fit loan for them. But someone planted that seed and said, you will not always be 25, and today I'm 51. There's something you can do with that license. So I refer my business out, and I get 4 or 5 deals a year that I refer out. That's $3,000 or $5,000, and all I need to do is keep my license current with my continuing education, which every even year, by or before April 30th, I need to make sure I have that qualification. So when people say you're a realtor, yeah, honey, anybody who has money, you have to have multiple streams of income with that. And so I will concur with many on this panel. For me, I have 3 degrees, but if I had to do it all over again, I may not necessarily have one. Because it was my real estate degree that opened the opportunity for me to earn a 6-figure salary. And it took me 6 weeks going to take a class, taking the state exam, and yes. And so we have to think about those things with our young people and ourselves. If we're looking for career opportunities, do we want to get in debt in the meantime? There are so many programs that are free or a limited amount of funds that are available right here in the city of Chicago. But we must take advantage of those programs.
You made a very good point, and Malayna, I want to give you the opportunity to kind of piggyback on that, because the process to becoming a broker in the state of Illinois, there's a lot of nuances now that are great, and they're supporting minorities joining, as well as it's one of those straight out of high school type opportunities. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So like she said, straight out of high school, I actually went on to get my degree. I thought I wanted to go like school psychology. But after I got my degree, decided to be a real estate agent. They was like, you only have to be 18, all you need is a high school diploma. So I was like, wow, I didn't even have to go to college. I could have just went straight to this. So yes, you have to take a 6 or 8 week class, 75 hours. You can take it in Hyde Park, and they also have classes downtown. There's also other places as well. You pass the test, and then you go on, you can work under like another office, and they'll teach you everything that you need to know from there. So for me, all I had was real estate. I didn't have another job, so I made sure I knew everything like this. I didn't know anything about finances, anything about anything. But I built a team to help me so that if I didn't know the answers, I talked to my lender, talk to the attorney, talk to this person, talk to a credit person. I'm helping find the home, making sure that the numbers are correct, and then I'm relying on my team members to back me up. So it's really just learning the basics of it. The class will teach you the basics of it, and then you really learn actually the team around you, and that's just meeting people.
Networking.
Yep, networking.
Yeah,
Yep.
networking.
Just networking. Yep. Back you up.
That's
And look
really
at you with
important.
a smile.
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? Because with my experience being a career coach, I worked in higher education for about 8 years, helping students pretty much go through their academic programs, go into a lot of financial debt, go into programs that cost them $60,000, and their first job is only paying them $30,000.
Right. Or less.
Or less, right? So numerically speaking, that can be a big deal breaker. And it's really something like you mentioned, you have to think about the beautiful thing about career pathways, and because I run a construct program and we also offer a TDL program, and our construct program is a 9-week training program preparing women and men to get into the construction and utilities field, where you obtain like your CDL permit, your OSHA, your flagger certification, and it's for free. 9 weeks for free. Our TDL, transportation, distribution, and logistics, CDL permits, forklift certifications, right? And these are skills where you really fast track yourself over the course of 9 weeks. Some programs, and it depends on the organizations that are throughout the Chicagoland area, but there are a lot of nonprofits throughout the Chicagoland area who offers these types of free training programs to community members, and you pretty much are able to fast track your career in the course of 9 weeks to 15 weeks and obtain these credentials. And one thing I do tell people, especially with being in career services, is that employers nowadays are paying for you to go back to school. So once you get those credentials, whether it's through higher education and you walk away with an associate's or some sort, or a trade program, you can get employed, get your foot in the door, and have those candid conversations with those employers and say, you know, what type of tuition benefits do you offer? What type of professional development do you offer? And those are actually conversations you can have with them prior to accepting those positions, right? And that's what you should have with them, because that's what I encourage people to do all the time. You can ask, what's the salary? What are you paying? Negotiating that. So, yeah, so there's a lot of pieces to really consider what would be a good fit for you and where you see yourself going. Because just like you, if I would have known what I know today, to be honest with you all, about trade, I would not have this degree under my belt. I would have eventually obtained it, but I probably would have went another route prior to going to collect that much debt.
Absolutely. Well, I can honestly say, I mean, I have 3 degrees also, and I can honestly say, if I had to do it again, I would do it exactly the same way. And it's all a matter of options and choices.
Absolutely.
And so that's really what we're talking about today, is having options and choices, and knowing what you're passionate about, knowing what it is that you want to do, and then moving in the direction or the pathway that it takes to get to that particular passion. And so, yes, I did not incur any student loan debt until I got to my doctorate degree. And so I was able to go through undergrad, for free because of academic scholarships, as well as Pell grants at that time. I'm a little older than most of you all in here, so that was back in the day when Pell grants were a thing. They're no longer a thing. And then I went through my master's degree program. I paid for part of it, and then I began working for the state of Illinois, who supplemented the rest of it. And then with my doctorate degree, I started in one program which I was paying out of pocket for, and then switched programs to a private school, and that's when I incurred student loans. So, right, it was more costly, so of course I had to take out student loans. By then my life situation had changed. I got married and had children, and so I didn't have the same resources that I had as a single person, because now I had a family. So it's all about options and choices, and for the young people in the room, there are programs out there that work with young folks as well. As I mentioned earlier, one of my assignment for the last year was with Prairie State College in the Opportunity Works program, and there's programs that operate throughout the city of Chicago, Opportunity Works, for disconnected young adults between the ages of 16 and 24, where you can learn a lot of the same things that I'm sorry, Mr. name again, LaShanda. That LaShanda was talking about, learning those industry credentials with forklift, OSHA, welding, getting job readiness skills, how to operate on the job, how to navigate when you're working with someone who's from a different generation and knowing how to communicate with those of a different generation. And that's really a big thing. Knowing the difference between I can't show up for work today because I don't have transportation, and finding a way to get to work because that's what's important. Knowing the difference between you don't have benefits, so if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. And so those are some of the basic things that young folks don't always connect with. Oh, so, my paycheck was only X number of dollars. Well, how many days did you go to work? Well, I didn't go to work last week. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So just teaching them how to navigate those things and the importance of having a strong work ethic, because that's really what will get you from point A to point B.
And everything is connected to everything.
Yes.
So that is a great point that you made with young people, being able to understand that your choice today not only affects today, it affects tomorrow, months down the line, and years to come.
Absolutely.
So when you're talking about things that you want, you aspire to have and aspire to be, you have to realize those choices start now. So with many parents, if college is the option for your particular scholar, you really need to begin in 7th grade. Because the city of Chicago has so many awesome opportunities. All of the city colleges have what's called the STAR grant. If you're a scholar withholds and maintains a 3.0 GPA throughout high school, they can go to any city college for free. And I'm not sure if you have visited Malcolm X College. All of the city colleges are being revamped. But when you walk into Malcolm X College now, those of us who are in our 50s, it looks way different than it did back in the day. It looks like a university. And so I would definitely take full advantage. And speaking about the opportunities at the city colleges, each city college specializes in a particular area. So Malcolm X specializes in medical. Olive Harvey is transportation and I believe computer. So doing that research, that is very, very helpful. So you're talking about saving money out of your pocket if you're a single mother, or if you have children and you want them to have a foundation for life as far as standing on their own feet. I heard someone else on the panel say that research is very, very important, and providing them with those skills that are necessary to be able to embrace that. I would tell parents, if you're telling Johnny to clean his room 5 times and tomorrow it's still not clean, Johnny is bringing that same attitude into the classroom, whereas me as an educator, I gotta tell Johnny 5 times to turn in his assignment or show his work. So everything is connected to everything, no matter where we are in life. That's all of our choices and decisions as well, and capitalizing on the opportunity to share with our young people, to give them the best.
And as you said, if it's transferring from the home to the classroom, then it will ultimately, without any intervention, transfer into the workplace, which creates an even bigger problem.
You got it.
Piggyback on that. That Malcolm X is actually where I got on my science.
Oh my God, it is good.
It's well now. I went to the old.
Okay.
Now, I went to the old school, but that's where I got it from. And they still offer that program. It's a 2-year program. That is a 2-year program if that's something that you can stomach and want to get into. But it is, and that's actually a really good program that if, like you said, you got the 3.0, you can go to that for free and everything's covered. And most times, because they partner with the Cook County Board.
Right.
So they often, if you go there for your externship or whatever, and if you show up, it's kind of like your the way they run their externship program is kind of like you're on an interview, even though you're really not getting paid. Some people they'll pay, it depends on your work ethic, your stuff. So they'll pay for you to come. They won't pay you full.
But you get some
but you get some
compensation.
type of compensation or whatever, and then you go there, and it's like once you graduate from the program, you're pretty much a shoe-in to get you a job, and to have a Cook County job. Maybe you talking about when you retire, that's a pension. That's a pension.
County, state, city jobs. So really, if you think about the wealth of information that's being provided, these are the opportunities we're trying to open the door up so that people within the community can take full advantage, because knowledge is power. They say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. It goes beyond that. It's really a crucial detriment if we're wasting the wealth of information that is presented to us and that's available. And if we know better, we will begin to do better. And when we begin to do better, don't be afraid to share and push that information out. As we're looking at the different things that are being shared, can anyone on the panel share any obstacles with your particular career as it relates to anyone in our audience who may be interested in pursuing? What were some of the, let's keep it real, being transparent, what were some of the stumbling blocks or obstacles or hurdles that you may have faced trying to pursue and maneuver to get to where you are in your career?
Well, for me, transitioning into trucking, it was hard because trucking is pretty much a male-dominated career. So when you come in as a female, they don't welcome you. Like now, the job that I have now, I'm a teamster. I'm in a local union. So and the union that I'm in, it was unheard of for women to even be in that union, especially. So they put a saddle on me and rode me like a horse, but guess what? I'm still there, you know. So it's like that's the biggest thing, dealing with the discrimination, because like you're not supposed to be, you know, or whatever. Or it's like something like even when I was out on the road, you know, you would have like if you had, because you have to pull, it's called fifth wheel. So your tractor and trailer is connected by a fifth wheel. So sometimes if it gets stuck, you can't, you know, you need the force of a man to, you know, to pull it or whatever. You know, you got some there be like, oh, baby, I'll help you, but then you got others, you shouldn't want to do this job if you can't do this job, you know. But hey, I'm still out here and I'm doing it, and guess what? If it takes me an hour to pull this wheel, I'm gonna pull this wheel. So it's like those are the obstacles that I face, like just being like a part of the whole, you know, this is a man's job, this is a man's
gender
world.
and
race.
So gender and race were obstacles.
So yeah, that's my thing, like the gender and race. But for the most part, I mean, I just didn't give up because this is something that I want to do. And then now I could always go back to, but I didn't want to go back to. Like I wasn't gonna let that defeat me. I had to. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I didn't had my emotional side had taken over from time to time. Oh yeah, I spent some nights crying, you know, because I'm like, you know, isn't that big of a deal? But I never let it defeat me.
What? I was gonna say, Malayna, since you're the more youthful one on our panel, you know, what were some of the struggles that, because you said you went to school, you obtained a degree, and then decided you wanted to embrace the field of real estate. Share what your experiences may have been.
So as a real estate agent, you have to go get all your business. Nothing ever comes to you. You can sit and wait for it to come, but you ain't gonna get paid. And what you do, whatever comes, it may or may not go all the way through. So in this field, you really have to have a drive. You have to know your why you're doing it, because people will weed you out real quick. Just with a lot of, I won't even say so much stress, but you have to be able to maintain yourself and keep your clients happy. So you have to go out and get all your business. And so we're so used to, in our economy, we're so used to like working a job and them telling you like, okay, you do this, you'll get paid, these are the hours, you work from here, this is what you're gonna pay. In this field, you can do what you want for as long as you want, as short as you want. This is what you can do. It may or may not work. Figure it out. So because I didn't have another job, some people do this job part-time, and I think it probably works out, but I did it full-time. And so for me, it's like if I'm not working hard, I'm not eating. So I'm always wanting to go out, meet new people, ask questions about homes, if they're owning, if they're renting. You just really have to have a drive and know your why. Go get it.
And just to add to what Malayna said in regard to being a business owner, you are in control of your income. So being in control of your income or how much money you make depends on how hard you're willing to work. And so the obstacles, I'm just going to speak real briefly about two different obstacles. As a business, as a female business owner with a non-for-profit organization, some of the obstacles that I have run into are just inability or unwillingness for others to collaborate. Because in order for us to no man is an island. We have to work together, and sometimes, unfortunately, the competition among others is brutal. Because, we don't feel, well, yeah.
Let's be transparent.
I'm trying to keep it PC, politically correct. But, right. It's really difficult for women to work together. And so I'm the person that always, I'm helping everybody, I'm providing resources, I'm collaborating, and I end up being the person that's giving all and not receiving any in return. And so that's been an obstacle. The other obstacle, if you want to take it back to the educational standpoint, the one obstacle that I faced, even in education, is that I didn't have proper mentorship. And so I am passionate about mentoring young folks because, I started out working on a degree. I did 2.5 years at the University of Illinois in the College of Engineering, and then determined, this is not what I want to do. Totally changed my major, ended up with a degree in criminal justice pre-law, went to law school for a semester and a half at John Marshall Law School downtown, said, not sure if that's what I want to do. And then I started working on a master's degree in criminology. Then once I realized that, I had to deal with blood and guts, I was like, I don't think that's what I want to do. So I ended up with a master's degree in psychology, guidance, and counseling. And then ultimately, I decided it was always a personal goal of mine to get a doctorate degree. And so when I started my doctorate program, I was 2.5 years in one program at Northern Illinois University. Life happened, I got married, had babies, and I had 3 babies in 4 years, so I couldn't go back and sit in a brick and mortar school. And so I ended up getting my doctorate degree online. And so, the piece that I missed though is the mentorship piece of people finding out from me or asking me, what are you passionate about? What is it that really drives you? Because as you can see, I have degrees in several different areas, and I have educational experience in even more areas. And I don't discount any education because no education is wasted education as long as you do something with it. But when you have someone who's willing to take the time to find out what is it that turns your wheel, what is it that drives you, what is your passion, what is it that you would do every day for the rest of your life, whether you got paid for it or not, and then create the foundation, whether it's an educational path towards, degrees, or whether it's a trade path, then helping that person to get from that point A to point B until there's ultimate success.
And I'm really glad that you said that this is really, each loop is tying in to itself. That is one of the things, so everybody, I'll make sure that each individual who is interested, who knows a young person or is young at heart, here today, that's one of the things that I provide, and I brought some with me with the Mega Mindset workbook. It allows young people an opportunity to really find out and discover what their passion is. See, in our day, we had a little time and it wasn't as expensive to explore different things and go to school here and go. It's too expensive now. You're talking about $25,000, $30,000 to get a degree, and you don't want to go through that path, and you're like, well, I don't like that. Right. So now you got $25,000 worth of loans. And with the Mega Mindset workbook and the process is helping people to, one, get that motivation with that M. It's an acronym: motivate, educate, generate, then activate the power that is within. And then identifying what is the knowledge base you have. Knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools. Those are all different. Knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools. Knowledge, any of us can go and sit amongst anybody to get information. Knowledge is information. Tools, do I need a book? Do I need a laptop? Do I need a cell phone? What do I need? If I'm going to be a truck driver, do I actually need to have a truck myself? Or can I get a truck from somebody else? I want to be a hairdresser. I need the tools. I need the curling irons, the barber. I need the clippers. So what are the tools? Now the skills, that's where we're refining what it is. We got the knowledge. Now we're going to put the knowledge to use. So that might mean we need to go and take up a thorough classroom that is a class or a program to give us the skills that we need. Once we have the knowledge, which is the information, the tools, and the skills, now we need to get a strategy. What's our plan? Are we going to do this on a part-time or a full-time basis to put that thing together? And that's not taught in schools. And so that's why anybody who is here today who wants it, I go over. You start off with, okay, do you even know how to fill out an application? Right now it's not paper and pencil anymore. You have to be acclimated to a computer. You've got to have some type of computer skills somewhere along the way. We need academic skills, tools, strategies, and knowledge. We need financial skills, tools. They all come together. So I'm glad you mentioned that with our young people. If we can get them started off early, we don't have to do that much cleanup when they get older and waste a lot of time, money, and resources. I have this for you if you showed up today. And so it's a workbook where you go over with your child, your young person. You can be an adult, a single mother. I do it as a class, but I bought the workbooks for anyone who needed it. You can do some self-study. And there's an inventory check where you check for yourself. Do I know how to do this? Am I familiar with this? Do I know how to do this? Do I like this? Do I like that? And that way you can kind of narrow down. Save a lot of time and resources. No education is wasted, but you sure don't want to waste any money. Or time. Yes, so pick up one because, like I said, this thing is tying right in to helping our people move forward.
So all of this.
Now is, because I got my daughter, she graduated December, but that's $45,000 a year, not in one half. Like, not for the whole, per year, that's $45,000. Well, that's what she wanted to go. I'm gonna help you.
And we have to get a little bit more control over that as well. Then I want you to share because you have that background. Just because your scholar wants to go to Spelman, you need to talk to him or her about what it takes in that investment. You want to go to Spelman, then you better start doing those papers, getting A's, getting those scholarships, taking that ACT and SAT, getting the appropriate scores. Just because you have a desire, we need to make sure that you're ready for that desire that you have. I'm not going in debt. And I don't want our people to get ourselves all caught up in debt for a piece of paper. We're going to move on because nobody ever asked me to look at any. I have 3 degrees. No one has ever asked me to look at any of them. So we got to make sure, we iron that out. But share your experience.
I'll be short because with me getting into nonprofit career services, I teach people what I went through and what I know based on communicating with employers on a daily basis. So to tie into everything that everybody said, especially for you, there was this article on LinkedIn that I read about maybe 4 years ago that said the younger generation, the millennials are the generation of startups, but they don't exemplify the work ethic of baby boomers. Right? Now baby boomers, I love that, right? They would stay on jobs for 10 years. 20, 30 years, right? 30 years. Retire. And, the younger generation now, you're in a position to pretty much be creative. Now, I teach those skills of how to not quit when those other duties is needed come in, right? Because that's where that issue comes into play. But you are the captain of your own ship. And there is no growth in comfort. So when you are uncomfortable and you press yourself through trying something, being willing to stick it out through a job, as long as they're not doing anything unethical to you, ride it out. See if you like it. That's how you'll be able to determine if it's for you or not for you. You have to really be strategic in your process. And for me, what I love about the organization that I'm with, they're very innovative. Like our human resource department really taps into having what we call unleashing your strengths. So we have those candid conversations. I was sitting down with my CEO maybe about a month ago talking about where else I see myself in a different department or what I see myself doing with my side. Most people don't have those conversations. So, or they're afraid to have those conversations because they're afraid of being like reprimanded from an employer. But we're at will state. And what does that mean? A company can fire us at any point and you can quit at any point. So you really have to be strategic and build that career pathway for yourself over the time and say, okay, well, I'm gonna do this for a year, see if I like it, and commit to doing it, because I was supposed to be an architect, y'all. I was supposed to be an architect. I didn't even mention that earlier. But I really tapped into sociology because I had to self-reflect when I was in school and say, okay, what do I see myself doing? The cliche of helping people. Right. I have two hands for a reason. One to help myself and another to help somebody else. So it's not my information to keep for myself. So I just kind of wanted to share that because you really have to be strategic in achieving those career goals. And the reality of life is we're going to always be learning. We're still learning even at the, I think, if you keep that mindset and stay open to the process of that you will always learn, you'll obtain those skills and you will become marketable. And people will gravitate to you and it'll get to a point in your career where people are telling you about jobs. And you haven't even applied that, right? So they'll pretty much come to you. So it's really about just being strategic in that process. And it's okay to not know what you want to do. And I think it's important to have those mentors. Like we mentioned, having a mentor and just really self-reflecting and saying, okay, you know what, do I see myself doing this? Or bouncing your ideas off of somebody else and saying, okay, well, what do you think about this? Because it is an opportunity for you to build and foster meaningful relationships so that you can get to where you want to be, whether that's working for an employer or obtaining your own business.
Absolutely. And as we begin to wrap up, there was so much rich information that was shared here as it relates to, you know, the academic standpoint, careers and trades, whether you want to go to a 4-year university or a 2-year university or that direction. As we wrap up, just consider having SMART goals, no matter what direction you go into. And so when you think about SMART, specific goals, measurable, because sometimes we put stuff out there, you know, specific goals, measurable, are they achievable? Or are we way out there in no man's land? Make sure they're relevant to where you really want to go, and then have a time frame on them. So have SMART goals, SMART. SMART goals with that.
And nowadays, we're talking about making them smarter goals. And so in addition to them being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, or realistic, and time-bound, then when you get to that point or that time frame, you have to evaluate whether or not you've gotten to where you were trying to get to. And then if you didn't, find a way to readjust it so that SMART goal can become smarter.
So although I'm going to capture everyone's social media, and for all those who register via Eventbrite and or signed in, I'll share that just for people who are watching. You guys want to leave any social media handles or websites that you would like to leave as resources for individuals to be able to reach you, and then we will kind of say thank you and have a great day.
I can be reached on all social handles with Open Your Mind LLC, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, email, Open Your Mind LLC, Stephanie A. Roberts.
And you all can connect with me through the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago through our website www.ywcachicago.org. And I do have some of my business cards here today as well.
Well, I have business cards back there as well as postcards for the book that my husband and I authored. But I can be reached on my website at oasisempowermentzone.com or on social media, Oasis Empowers on Instagram and LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. Well, you can reach me on Dr. Ruby Powell on LinkedIn and Instagram, Oasis Empowers. Twitter's Oasis Empowers. And then on Facebook, I'm sorry, Dr. Ruby Powell.
I have business cards in the back, but I can also be reached on social media at Instagram is mj.theagent. mj.theagent. Actually, it's a period, not that. mj period. The agent. And then on Facebook as well, Malayna Johnson. It'll be spelled out on there. And yeah, that's it. LinkedIn, Malayna Johnson as well.
Awesome.
MJ, here it is. Well, thank you all so very much. We so kindly appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule. We hope that you have been able to embrace a wealth of knowledge that you can take away and not only apply and use to your own lives, but go out and share with others. Have them actually tune in, look at the replay of our time together on today, and then we'll stick around for any questions or any comments that you would like to share